Hey everybody, OTC here, Trade with Bearable Trading Community. This is the continuation of my AMD trade, so we'll call it part 2. So let's keep running it. So you see here I was mentioning on the end of the last video that I took my last partial here as it got above that 50 SMA and then got above this 200 SMA on the 2, but then I was waiting to see what was going to happen here, right? And sure enough, you can see now that this candle has closed above the 50 SMA on the 2. Now it has overcome this 20 SMA, 20 EMA on the 5, and it was above this daily level and working on turning these averages over on the 15. So as it closed above, finally closed a candle above the 100 SMA, and as I mentioned, closed a candle above the 50 SMA, I took another entry. So this is essentially trade number 2 for AMD. Took a lot smaller shares because my P&L was already in pretty good shape. But this time I did not, if I recall correctly, I did not take a lot of partials here until my targets were hit. I think I take one partial, maybe 2 small ones as it's getting up to 85, or maybe, oh, I add to the position. So that's what it is, guys. So I started with 235 shares here, and then when I got the confirmation that it was holding these and making a new high, closing on a new high. So this low, the low of this candle here, was at a new high from the low of this candle. So that's why I added to my position there. So I think that's an important thing if you're what we call tiering into your trade, guys, is make sure something confirms that you get super bullish or super bearish if you're in a short, but on a trade. And so as I mentioned, I had already gotten a good P&L out of this one, so I did not want to take a poor trade on this time. So set my stop loss for the loss of these 2 averages. I think I move it a little bit, thinking about these candles somewhere. Maybe not, so they're just waiting for it. So you can see here the bears put a big selling candle in, but to me, because this stock has run down so hard, this is just the bulls getting exhausted. The bears getting exhausted. So the sellers just exhausting themselves out trying to push the price action down, and the bulls are just not having it. So that is why I waited for my entry. And you can see here in this candle, it has not closed above the low end. It has not closed above the 100 SMA. So I think this is a good job on my part of using both the 1 minute and the 2 minute to confirm my entry. And there it goes, there starts ripping. So a lot of orders on both sides, so watching it closely. I think it starts struggling here as it gets to try to break 90. You can see that there's a lot of asks at 96, 99, and I might take a partial here, I might not, I don't remember, but definitely when I take the partial at 85 flat, I was stubborn and was not taking it on an early value, right? Not at 93, not at 94, not trying to squeeze my order in between someone here. I took mine right at 85 because this guy, AMD, was quite bullish at this point. There I set a range order for 50 SMA on the 5, and in fact it gets there. It does a strong move to get there and even get higher. So I could have set all 1,000 shares to sell up here on one sell, and that would have been an amazing, I don't know, that's let's see, 70. So if my entry is, say my entry is like 83, 83 to 85, so 17 cents, a little more, so like 22 cents, even more than that, 25 cents. That would have been really good profit take on almost 1,000 shares. But either way, very happy with how I traded this stock. Important to remember, guys, that it's not about the dollars and cents, right? If you're a daily technical trader, you don't want to be looking at your P&L wondering, how am I doing? Am I green? Am I red? Especially me. That's one of the main things that I focus on. So two things that have made my trading experience so much more lucrative are, one is the concept of taking an entry with a tier 1 position, waiting for a confirmation or a pullback depending on the kind of stock action that's going on. In this case, not really looking for a pullback, wanting it to hold. So entry number 1, and then full entry or adding shares if this is going to be, in your mind, an excellent opportunity to get a good trade in for a big move, then this is the confirmation for me. So that's why I added a significant amount of shares, and then there it goes. It starts pressing up, pressing up, pressing up. And then I took a partial. And then for sure, I took a small partial there. So I had, oh no, I took half off there. So, what do you do when you're trading live? You don't really, a lot easier in hindsight to say I shouldn't have done it, but that was a strong move up on good volume. So run it a little forward, a little more, consolidates again, comes back down, reclaims that 9 EMA on the 1, this one here, the solid blue line. Really nice looking over here, because on the 2-minute chart you've got this 50 SMA and the 9 EMA is already above it, so not likely in my playbook to see it come back down. All this, so here you see it again. Sellers trying to push it down on big volume like they tried here, but it is not budging. It's not giving up the close of these candles here. So just another confirmation that this thing is pretty bullish. Then they get wicked up, they get popped up on this candle. We'll run it forward a little faster. So as I mentioned, it's struggling to get to 85, but at this point I was holding to get my next partial at exactly 85, since I took 50% off here. Not too worried about that. Saw that happen. Move my stop loss off just in case, but not too. You can see if you're willing to move your stop loss up like that, in case it comes down. So here we are. Here's that push. Haven't taken my partial. Comes back down. Buyers, sellers are pushing it. Buyers are pushing. I think this is a great example of another candle where this one here with good volume, where sellers are trying to push it down, buyers are not having it and reject that, give you a large body indecision type candle. So comes down. So after that, if you want to call it indecision candle, this is a seller mentality candle. But run it a little more, 30 seconds. There's the push, still at 96, 97, falls down. Another seller push. They're trying, but still on much lower volume. Well, still on decreasing volume, right, than this buyer push here on this candle. Run it forward a little. There it is, another push. Closes higher on the 1 minute, opens higher on the 2 minute, so opens higher on the 1 minute. 98, 99, a lot of, and 85, and got it. So it takes a lot of energy to get through, what was that, 105, and then I think it was like 50, so close to 160 lots. So it takes a lot of effort to get through that. So it did a great job of punching through. Run it forward a little. Then I think I take my last partial right around VWAP. There it got above the 100 SMA on the 2. At this point my stop loss is above break even. Got above the 200 SMA on the 1. So it's reclaiming a lot of strong averages. And now on the 5, it's trying to reclaim that. And I think that's why I take my last partial, because you've got the, on the 5, yeah, definitely, because I try to take my technical level partials off of levels and the 5 minute, which obviously I'm not doing a good job here. I need to do a better job of using my 5 minute to take all my partials. But you know, there's times where the move goes against you, and if you're not trading on the 1 and on the 2, then, and you're always waiting for that home run move, then you don't make any profits. So, but here it's pushing, Still have a few shares left, not too much. Let's speed it up a little. Okay, so now I set a range order. I'm thinking, okay, let's just set our last partial for up there. You can see my mouse during the trade. I'm pointing at myself, saying, okay, it pushed and closed below that 100 SMA, and this one closed below that 200 SMA, but you have VPOC there. So VPOC means you're getting the majority of buying, selling transactions happening at that particular area. Look at the effort on this candle here. A lot of effort from the sellers to push this thing back down. The bullish market not allowing it. Next candle starts making a good pop. You know, when you have a, oh, and there I took a partial, so I think I took half of it off there. Let's see when I reconstitute how many shares I have left. So I took half, so I took 50% of the remaining shares I had there, because it was struggling to close a candle above those averages and VPOC. And then consolidates down a little bit. Run it forward 30 seconds. You can see here consolidating on low volume, lower volume than, but to me this is a key attempt, right? On big volume they tried to push it down and were unsuccessful. So I did lower my stop loss to break even at this point, because I wasn't too worried anymore, because this candle here, see the bottom of it, it closed above the average, the moving average and VPOC. So I felt like low volume. Now see, that one was on lower volume than this. All right, so the sellers are starting to give up at this level. All right, so we always talk about levels. So this is a level, boom, the buyers pushed it up, and this is a level. So those levels tend to be areas where the price starts moving sideways. You have consolidation, or you have a battle between buyers and sellers, which is essentially just transactions, transaction, people buying and selling at the auction. So run it forward, there's the next pop. So now the buyers are pushing it to the next level, getting above the close of these candles here. Run it forward, 30 seconds, there's a push. Now it's above VWAP. That was a great push to get the stock above VWAP. And then not sure where I take my partial here. Oh, and there, and I took it at the close of VWAP. But let's see, so 32.22, so I took that 20%. Yeah, it's my almost 30% of my position. So that was probably my 33% button. You can't take a portion of shares, right? So then it's trying, so it's above. So I think that was a good partial, just in case it comes back down. Now it's above this 2 day ago low, so previous day low. So let's run it forward, 30 seconds. Just shrunk the size on my chart there. Came back down, consolidating again, right? Level, now it got pushed up to the next level, consolidating sideways. Struggling to get above that previous day low. Oh, and I think at this point, actually at this point, it comes back and stops me out. I was opening Thinkorswim to look at. Let's see. Consolidates, pushing up again. Consolidate, they're pushing up. Just speeding it up. Comes down. Coming to that 200 SMA, but wicking, so buyers aren't allowing it, right? Big volume to push it back up, keep it closing above that. Speed it up. Still consolidating. Now it's starting to come down. And then I decide as soon as it, maybe this is the one where I decide as soon as it breaks this 50 SMA on the one, that I will go ahead and get out. Or maybe, yeah, I set it to hold these two averages as well. So that's why I set it below this, to give myself some room in case this guy decides to wick people out here and then turn around and continue to move up, but above this guy, because if it comes back to test the 100 and the 50, the red 50 and the 200 on the 2 minute, then it's probably out of steam. So let's speed it up. Sorry, there I go showing my P&L again. Sorry about that, guys. I don't like to show my P&L, but there you have it. There's how I traded today in terms of the finances. Yeah, it broke there. As soon as it closes, yep, I took it off. As soon as that candle closed below the 50 SMA, I was done. Okay, so that was the second half of the AMD trade, but trade number one here, waiting for it to claim these averages here, get above them, get above and close above the 50 SMA, the 100 SMA here, re-entry, and then take my partials up to above VWAP and previous day close. So that was my trading on AMD for today. Thanks for listening in, guys. Bye bye.